Hi, everybody. Wishing all of you a very good evening. Thank you for joining us on Wednesday evening. We know it's a huge task for you to spare some time out of your weekday, your workday, and we appreciate that. We respect that. And as a result of which, we're going to make sure that we give you complete value of your time that you give us. Uh, we're largely going to be talking about studying computer science, studying an MBA, studying DS at a later stage. Um, in Seattle, which is in Washington in the United States. And I'm sure because you're acquainted with the US map, you know where Seattle is. And Seattle is one of the biggest tech hubs in the United States. Uh, it is almost a second Silicon Valley with Microsoft, Google, Meta, and Starbucks. And there's so many big US giants which are based in Seattle. It is one of the most lucrative, one of the most employable parts of the United States. Makes complete and absolute sense for you to do your higher ed in Seattle, largely because there are so many jobs. There's a plethora of what you can do in Seattle. We've got a university partner called City University of Seattle, and we're super excited to launch them. Today, we've got a whole team who's here to talk about every course that upGrad and the university have decided to proceed with. We're just going to wait for another 2 or 3 minutes for everybody else to join in. We normally see hundreds of attendees on forums like these. So I'm just going to give you guys a couple of minutes of time for you to join in. But also, feel welcomed to put your questions down on the Q&A button, and we will pick them up from right there. And we'll make sure that we address all of those. By the way, I would also introduce myself, and I know I'm late. I know I didn't do that one time, but I'm Praneeth. I head the undergraduate business for upGrad. I also spearhead the university partnerships for upGrad. And largely, if you're wondering, what is upGrad? upGrad Abroad is an organization that helps you study abroad in a more equitable, affordable, democratized way, which means we're helping you save about 35 lakhs of Indian rupees and plus in your higher ed in the US, which means your US higher ed comes down to as little as about 20 lakhs or so. And that is about it. Instead of 45 or half a CR that we normally keep in mind, it's cut down by almost 35 lakhs. So that is how affordable upGrad actually makes studying abroad for you. But what we're also doing is we let you do a part of your course credits here in India, which means that if you're a working professional, if you're stuck somewhere, if you still feel that you've got long commitments in India, or you missed the September intake, or you missed the major intakes, you can still study with us and actually do about 6 months of your coursework here in India. So City University, as an example, has a 39 credit wide degree, of which 9 credits can be done in India. So instead of 12 courses and capstone, you can do 3 courses right here in India and make use of that time that you have between intakes when you miss them. So studying abroad with us is no longer a complicated thing. You can just start wherever you are. And our batches start every month. The first introductory launch batch is right now as we speak on 30th of September. And you're going to be going to CityU as soon as about April or July. That is how soon. And if you're an existing Triple ID Bangalore ACPDS student with us or an IMT, you can go as soon as January. That is how flexible we've made studying abroad. And City University pioneered that model with us, which is why they're here. And we're bang on time. We're at 6:36. I would like to officially welcome Antonio, Christian, Sam, Scott, Ali, and I would request Antonio to introduce his team. Please, Antonio.
Well, namaste, everyone. Good evening, India. It is a pleasure to be here. I had the opportunity to visit our esteemed partner in Noida in last week. Actually, it was last week. So it's nice to be back in the States, but at the same time, it's also a pleasure just to be here to talk about our great partnership that we have with upGrad. But before I do want to introduce our part of our leadership team at City University of Seattle. And I'll start with our provost, Dr. Scott Carnes. Our provost is our chief academic officer, and so he oversees every single aspect that takes into account the learning inside and outside of the classroom. And so, Scott, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. I know it's really early for us. Again, I appreciate it. The next person I want to welcome and introduce is Dr. Sumatra Sengupta, our Dean of the School of Business and Management. Dr. Sengupta will be talking about our MBA and then once we have additional collaborations, we'll have additional programs under his school. Dr. Sam Chung, our Dean of the School of Technology and Computing. Again, one of the reasons we're here today is to talk about our Master of Science in Computer Science. And again, he has also other great programs. Next up is Dr. Ali Kamsipur, our Program Director for Undergraduate Programs under the School of Technology and Computing. And again, this is for the students who might be interested in the Bachelor of Science in Applied Computer Science, and he's a great ally to students and to the university. Last but not least, I say save the best for last. Mr. Christian Villaseñor, our Director of International Student Recruitment. My name again is Antonio Esqueda, and I supervise the international student experience at City University of Seattle. Again, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Antonio. We're super excited to be speaking about this. As I said, we're talking about our first maiden programs with City U Seattle, MS Computer Science, MBA, and a Bachelor of Science in Applied Computer Science. We're doing all of these while the MBA is with IMT Ghaziabad in India, where you get a dual degree, but also get 3 subjects waived off, and you get your GRE, GMAT waived off, and you move into the City U campus in Seattle. And when it comes to MS Computer Science, you do an ACP in DS, an Advanced Certificate Program in Data Science from IIIT Bangalore, which is for 8 months. And once you're done with that, you get into the MS Computer Science with a 3-course waiver and a course waiver for the complete foundation credits as well, as long as you're from a computer science IT background. And we're talking about the Bachelor of Science Applied Computer Science, where you can do 1 year in India, 3 years on the City U campus, or 2 years in India and 2 years at the City U campus. That is largely the model. But I think just to build the context, Antonio, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Feel free to redirect them to whoever you think can be the best person to answer that, because you've got a large team here. Number one, I think I just want the entire attendee set to know here that why does Seattle make so much sense? How is this the most strategic location for a tech or a business grad in terms of employability, in terms of the student environment, in terms of academia? So why Seattle?
You know, that's a great question, and I want to piece this out to our provost. If Dr. Scott Carnes can talk just briefly about our teaching model, how we our teaching model, and then we'll address your other questions, because there are very specific questions in what each school does differently for each student. So if you're in the School of Technology and Computing, you'll be working with Dr. Chung and his team that are extremely intentional. If you're in the School of Business, again, I'll have Dr. Sengupta talk about that. Scott.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. And it's nice to be able to speak with you. One of the core components of the mission at City University of Seattle is to offer relevant education. And the way that we do that is through our teaching model. We have what we call a scholar practitioner teaching model. And that means that we're bringing working professionals out of their offices and into the classroom to teach you what they're doing in their work every day. They know what you're going to need when you're on the job, and that's what they're focused on in the classroom. Being in Seattle, that means that we're drawing professionals from some of the largest and most impactful companies in the world. We've got Amazon, we've got Microsoft, we've got Starbucks, we've got so many tech giants here, so many other sectors, the Boeing and the airplane industry. We've got the energy sector. We've got a lot of really significant sectors here. And that means that we're bringing professionals out of those fields to teach you not only what's happening in the business and the tech world today, but what's coming, so that by the time you finish your degree, you're prepared to work in that field. The time in the classroom, you'll hear a little bit more about from the deans, but that time in the classroom is really focused with those faculty on real world curricula and experiential learning to prepare you for those workplace environments.
If I may, Scott, I just wanted to add a little bit, just put in the student context. Students, if you decide to come to CityU, you'll be taking your classes with instructors who are actually in the field. So if you're taking a computer science, that person, the instructors in that class are computer science experts in the field. And so that providing that experience and that experiential learning to the student in the classroom, it's a competitive advantage to CityU. And so with that, Sam, will you want to briefly discuss your model in the School of Technology and why students should select CityU?
Yes, great. Thank you. Already, our provost mentioned that we have a great giant here. So what does it mean to you? It means this is the #1 city in this world in terms of IT, because it's growing so fast. So I don't want to talk about the money, but you better know the salary scales. Usually $30,000 higher than United States average, because they are looking for high-skilled employee. Also, you are saying, okay, so if you, let's say first, before I'm talking about teaching model, okay, how about your student doing? Yes, I have evidence. So my student, alumni, they are working at the Pinterest, also AWS, eBay, Adobe, and Google. That means our student, they are getting into the real world after graduation. In this case, I brought international student only because we are targeting them. Then now you are asking, okay, so what did you do for your student? So briefly, I want to mention that American culture first. For example, I don't know, my home country, South Korea, everybody wants a permanent job. America, no, we don't have that terms, contract. If you are doing good, until you die, you can work. If you are not good, tomorrow morning, you have to go home. That's the American culture. Second, everybody looking for the degree. I'm so sorry, America, we are looking for experiences. Means, do you have evidence? Can you work together? Because of that, when you come to the CityU, we are encouraging you to work together, not competition, collaboration. And then also, I'm encouraging my student, do you want to be hired? Or someday, do you want to hire somebody? So your model is what? Okay, you want to hire somebody. Because of that, I have a 3S model. So what is the 3S? Number one is, I'll bring my slide here. Okay, so number one is the strong curriculum. We want to really work on there. Our curriculum is not ours. We are following international standard. What does it mean? We are following, looks like Asia, Association of Computing Machinery. Also, we have a center designation. We are following the national standard. That's the first S, strong curriculum. Second, sustainable program, because the technology market are moving so fast. Because of that, we have to keep it. So we are using the Bloom's taxonomy or quality matters rubric or ABET accreditation, industry certification, looks like AWS certification. We want to keep the program regardless of a technology change. That's the sustainable program. Then last one, smart learning. What does it mean, smart? Smart means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely matter. Because of that, we emphasize the active learning, also experience-based practices. We are collecting a lot of, evidence-based practices. Because of the student involved in capstone project and publication, Also to join the community event, the meetup, or sometimes a data science, a cybersecurity competition. Also, we have a student groups, student clubs. Also, we have a TA center. One of your question was a scholarship. Yes, one of them is the TAs. Apply for it. Then if you are qualified, you can work together, you can get it. So let me summarize again. Our teaching module is 3S: strong curriculum, sustainable program, smart learning. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Sam. Samatra, would you talk about the School of Business and Management, please?
Sure. Thanks. My video is a little choppy, so but my audio, can you guys hear me over there, Praneeth? So first of all, welcome to everybody. 34 years ago, I sat in the same seat after finishing high school at Modern School Vasant Vihar, and then finishing a couple of years in Bombay Xavier's, to make a decision on whether to flip the coin to come to this country or to go to UK. And I made the decision, and here I am 34 years later, right? So hopefully you guys will make the right choice. As it relates to School of Business, we're currently serving about 2,400 students. So we're a very large school at CDU. And our provost, Scott, mentioned a couple of companies where our practitioner faculty come in from. A couple of companies that we have recently added are companies such as TikTok. The chief data scientist of TikTok teaches in both in the MBA and the undergrad program. One of the chief scientists of Google is now teaching in our Masters of Science in Technology and Product Management. The person holds about 6 patents from his time at T-Mobile and Asus. So kind of gives you a sense for the type of faculty that teach. I myself teach in the program. I used to be a partner at Ernst & Young, and then I was a partner at Booz Allen and then ran a bunch of companies. So what makes the program very different in School of Business, especially the MBA program, which is what we're talking about, is that a student will tackle at least 3 live cases throughout the program. And that and when we say live cases, this is not a Harvard business case. These are cases of real problems that local companies are facing right now. So in the last few terms, students have solved market entry problems for a new startup. They have solved an affordable housing problem for one of the cities here. They have been working on projects for Mondelez, which is essentially Kraft or the Oreo cookies. So these are the kinds of problems that our students will be solving, and we try to get them through 3 live cases before they get their OPT, which, as you know, is very, very important. Dr. Carnes also mentioned the faculty that come. Keep in mind, very important is that these faculty also serve as conduits into the industry for you. So if you are in their class and you've made an impression, which I am sure all the students will make, because you're not going to come here just to slack off and enjoy the beautiful Seattle weather. It is highly likely that your faculty members are the ones who will serve as conduit for internships, and then onwards in the OPT, which I know is very crucial, and you get the 1-year OPT. So School of Business, I think if you go on our website, you will also see the number of degrees outside of MBA. MBA is our flagship product. It is the largest product and the largest program within the School of Business. Currently, we probably have about 11 countries represented in the MBA program. So when you come to a classroom on campus, you will essentially be interacting with students from many different countries, which makes for the experience to be just that much richer than in a few other places. So hopefully this gives you a little sense for the school, the program. And finally, what I do want to emphasize is the one-on-one interaction. We are a big school, but we operate like a small high-touch school. So from the time you come in, you have an academic advisor who is associated with your academic success. My staff is always available to answer questions. I'm accessible as needed. However, it is very important to know that all the way through your journey, we make sure that we hold your hand, not baby you, but we hold your hand through the process. Honestly, I didn't have that when I came here 34 years back to a very large state school. So to me, those are the kinds of subtleties in our business model that makes this place a very unique location. So thanks, Antonio. And Praneeth, hopefully I answered some of your questions.
Yes. Sorry, Antonio.
Oh, so so for the students, you heard about the academic component. I want to ask my colleague Christian if he can talk about our residence hall and other student activities that we have for students.
While I do that, I just want to quickly take you guys, I mean, just make sure the attendees have a little bit more context into the course that we've developed, and then eventually I think we can move to the facilities. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure. I think my next question will probably be to Scott, but I just wanted to know that in a world where students are picking up a lot of new age domains like DS, machine learning, cybersecurity, robotics, why does computer science still make so much more sense? Why is it that that umbrella degree that can pretty much keep them future ready, but also employable at a very macro level? I mean, because it's a STEM degree, which is one of the things that I would like you to speak about, that why does STEM make so much sense? But then again, why do we go back about a decade back and then still come to a conclusion that MSCS is still one of the best degrees to go for?
I'm going to let Sam start that off and then I'll follow up.
Think about that. Which industry sector is driving the USA and this world? Naturally, it comes from nowadays computer science. But why computer science is so different from other disciplines? A lot of discipline, one you can see is one you can do. Means you can see it, you can touch it. Computer science, you can't. One you cannot see is one you can do. Everything happens in cyberspace. So sometimes I'm saying computer science is air, or computer science is just looks like water. Wherever you go, without having them, you cannot survive. Second, this is a hybrid. You study the finance, you study the physics, you study the history, music, it doesn't matter. Especially CDU is a specialty. We are different from many other universities. Why? They have the physical domain, computer science is coming, you can do it. That's a typical example, data science. Also computer science, you go to the healthcare, you know the healthcare domain, also life science domain, you know the computer science, you can make it. And then third one, we blessed here because Microsoft started here, Amazon started here. To us, that's not the high-tech company. To our student, our CDU computer science student, just the local companies. That's the strong advantage. So actually, our program direct manager computer science program is Ali. Ali, would you add something, and then Scott will jump in.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Good evening. One thing I would like to add is I would like to encourage everybody to take a look at the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. The website, I will throw the website in the chat. I'm not sure if everybody can see it, but it's typed bls.gov. And one of the interesting pieces of information that you can find there, can I share my screen real quick? Praneeth?
Yes, please.
Oh, excellent, thank you. So this is the website. What I am very interested in here is this job outlook. It's a 10-year job outlook, and I would encourage you all to take a look at this number over here and compare this to traditional engineering fields or fields of study that were very, very common 10 years ago. And you will see that fields like data science, fields like computer science, quality assurance, and fields of that nature are very, very popular. And they are growing very, at least as fast as average, if not much faster, just like this data science field. Another one that I would like to show you guys here is web developers and digital designers. As you can see, 23%, which is much faster than average. We have software developers, 25%, much faster than average. And this is, by the way, a US government website. So the data is all collected by the government. And I would like you guys to compare this to traditional engineering fields. As you can see, chemical engineering only has 14% of the growth. Electrical engineering, which back in my days was a very, very popular field, has 3%, which is much slower than the average. Civil engineering, 7%, as fast as average. So this data speaks for itself on what area of study someone should pursue, especially in an area like Seattle, which is the heart of IT. The next thing I would like to talk about is mainly about our programs. I saw a couple of questions asking, mentioning that I come from background A, B, and C, and would I be eligible for getting into the data science program or the computer science program. Our programs in general in CityU, either the MBA, Sumatra can speak for that, but MBA or any of the programs in STC are designed in a manner where students from any background can be eligible for these programs. For the School of Technology and Computing, our students, if they come from totally non-tech backgrounds, they will have to take 4 preparatory courses, and then they can jump into the core requirement courses and continue the program. Is there any questions or anything?
Yeah, I think so. We've got a lot of them, but I'll just start taking them in a moment from now. I just wanted your team to finish if they want to answer or if they wanted to add on to it. But I think what you're saying pretty much is empirically everything we could have known or would want to know, that at the end of the day, if it's going at thrice the rate, then there has to be something to it. I think, which is what my point was, that the MSCS keeps them very, very safe in terms of employability, and also majority of all of these new age tech roles stem from an MSCS degree anyway, whether it's machine learning or cybersec or DS. If there's anyone who wants to add to it, sure, or we can move to the next part. Yes.
Yeah, in the sake of time, let's keep going.
Sure. We've got another question here, that does doing some part of the course in India affect the OPT? Well, actually not, because you're just doing 3 courses in India, or the coursework you're doing in India is equivalent to 3 course waivers that you get at the university. But you get, you're doing a full 12 to 15 months long of studies at the university, which is enough for you to be eligible for an OPT. For an MBA, it's going to be a year, but for an MSCS, which is a STEM degree, it is eventually going to be 1 + 2, so almost 3 years. And in a place like Seattle, that makes absolute sense, almost all worth your money. Wanted to know the fee structure. So in India, when you're doing the IIIT Bangalore course, which is the advanced certificate program in data science, and when you're doing the IMT Ghaziabad advanced general management program, both of these are going to cost you 3 lakh each. And when you go to CityU, we have an introductory scholarship of 25%. That brings down your fee to almost 18,000 USD for the complete course. Whereas you should know that the complete course costs around, so just the academic part of it would cost you somewhere around 34,000 USD, and you're paying 18. So that's almost half the fee on the structure. So with those 3 lakhs that you're spending in India doing an ACP DS, you're earning a dual degree, similarly for IMT. So I hope I answered that part. I think one of the other things that I get asked a lot is what kind of campus jobs are available at the university, and can they apply for it before they actually move to campus?
Actually, Praneeth, if I may, I do want to say that, we are very proud to announce that the scholarship for upgrad students coming are applying to CDU. There are other resources, as Sam briefly touched on them. There we do have a very generous student employment benefits package, and so students who wish to work on campus as an F1 student or international student, we have a very generous package that our students are paid for their work. In addition to that, we waive off tuition for one course, and so I encourage students that who are willing to work either on or around the university. We have multiple positions available, to consider that option, because you just mentioned that with the scholarship is about 50% discount plus another 50% discount. That is brings the price point very accessible to all. It's a non-for-profit institution. We try to keep the price point at accessible to all. But I wanted to just mention that there's other scholarships available as well on CityU, and I would encourage students to visit our website on scholarships. For example, we have a scholarship for Enactus, those students who want to participate in our student club that student club that if they want to participate, they can actually also get an additional scholarships. And so there's additional financial resources for students that and Christian, thank you, Christian, for sharing the website. There's additional scholarships in addition to what we are offering just to upgrad students. And so I just wanted to mention that.
Great, thank you so much. We've got some questions here for Fizan. You're asking about scholarships. He just answered that, so I'm not going to take that. Could I join any computer science or engineering college in India for 1 year and then go to college abroad? Does it have to be IIT college? So largely no. So there's this technical concept called articulation, which means academically the modules you do in India are mapped with regards to the content, the coursework, the integrity, the sanctity, plus the outcomes that, the learning outcomes in terms of the industrial approach and theoretical approach. They're mapped in a formal setting. A contract or an agreement is brought in place. That's why triple IT Bangalore students can get a 3-course waiver at CityU. So you technically, I wouldn't encourage that you just randomly pick any college in India and then try to move, because that can make it very complex for you, and of course complicates the entire thing. Yes.
If I may, from this student and any other student who is considering any other opportunity, that since we have done upgrad and CityU have done this articulation agreement, those credits come in automatically. For students who decide to go to a different university or college in India and then transfer those courses, then the student it's up to the student to provide us with their academic content for their classes that they took, so that our academic team can then make an evaluation whether or not we accept credits. And so from a student perspective, it's highly encouraged, highly recommended that the students follow a map program that will guarantee those credit transfers. And so I would highly encourage students to select for an articulated program versus one that is not.
Thank you so much. Also, there is always an academic difference in how these courses are delivered and what content is there. So just make sure that when you come to the triple ID Bangalore route, you're not just looking at the courses that are going to help you waive certain at the university in the US, but I think a large part of it, which I often neglect mentioning, and I should do this more often, is that your foundational level skill set is built before you transfer to a proper MS computer science degree or an MBA degree. In MS, so when you do the ACPDS from Triple IT Bangalore, you do machine learning, you do toolkit, you do Python, linear regression, logistical regression, deep learning, natural language processing. You do all these kinds of skill set, time series, all of these. And so I'm sure Antonio, Scott, everybody would agree with me on this, that it just helps you do so much better in university in the US because your foundational level is all set. And you come with that certain level of skill set that keeps you way ahead of the normal classroom that you're in, but also favors you when you apply for jobs. So at IIIT Bangalore, we've got an 8 months long rigorous coursework for India's #1 private tech university. And it's almost, rigorously intensive on machine learning, rigorously intensive on Python, the two biggest tools you need. As as someone who wants to move into DS. So I hope we've been able to answer you. What is the criteria for a scholarship? So largely, we need 50% in your bachelor's minimum. That's number one. You can take a maximum of 10 backlogs. You can't have more than 10 backlogs. You need to have at least a 3 GPA in your graduate course, which you do with IIIT Bangalore or IMT, which is about 60% is the minimum requirement. If you don't have that, then there's no graduate transfer. That is the university's norm, that you need a 3 GPA at least. And Antonio can back me up here that they need a 3 GPA for the graduate transfer. Yes?
Yes.
Got that. And that's when you get the scholarship. So as long as you're meeting the criteria, Scott and his team have been super kind to us and have introduced the 25% scholarship, which actually brings down the fee from $34,000 to $18,000. That is how affordable they've helped us make this. So I hope I answered the criteria thing. Which courses are being offered for masters? So we've got a Master of Business Administration that Sumantra was mentioning about, an MBA, and it makes sense because so many of Fortune 500 firms are headquartered in Seattle. Also, when Antonio was seeing us, he was here at our campus, he mentioned that Meta and Google have just opened their campuses in Seattle and have opened up so many new jobs. I'd like Antonio to mention about that after this. And so to answer you, we've got an MBA and an MS in computer science. An MBA is a non-STEM MBA. However, you can maybe stretch the course and do a specialized study if you want to. The MS computer science is a STEM degree that gets you a 3-year OPT. I jump quickly to Antonio to expand a little bit on the new plant or the new campus that Meta has just set up and how many jobs has it brought?
Thank you for that question. We in Seattle, there's Silicon Valley in California, but then in Seattle we have the next tech hub. From other companies that were mentioned already, so we have Expedia.com. If you purchase an online ticket, you probably went through Expedia's system. We have the Amazon, the AWS, all these other things, but also based on our proximity to other companies that are based here. Google opened a campus near our campus. It's about maybe 10-15 minute walk from our campus. And also Meta, which used to be Facebook, also opened another campus in Seattle. And so all those different positions and being opened to the domestic population, international students are open to our graduates on a figure on how many people they're recruiting. I believe the number is between 15,000-20,000 new employees in the Seattle area. Sumantra, I see that you want to say something to add to it.
Yeah. I think Praneeth, there's two other factors that we should consider. One is that City University has recently been chosen as one of the few universities as the local partner for Amazon. As you know, Amazon is headquartered here. And so it has been an honor, which, so there's a lot of new Amazon folks that are actually coming in and joining our programs, both in the School of Business, School of Technology. And then the other thing that often gets overlooked, and given that this is an Indian audience, I will mention Vancouver is just across the border. And there are a lot of students who, if they prefer the Canadian side, they actually go through the process of applying for a Canadian work permit, and they end up crossing the border there. And we actually have an operation in Vancouver, a fairly large operation in Vancouver. So the fact is, City University is looking very much as a North American university. And so when you look at employment, and I encourage the students, of course, the whole of US is open, but keep in mind, even the parts of British Columbia that literally are just a 2-hour drive also tends to be fairly good for employment perspective for both business and technology students.
That does sum up almost everything that students would have wanted to know. We've got a question here, Sumantra, about the criteria. So for MBA, you're welcome to be from any background at all whatsoever. But for MSCS, you should be a Bachelor of Engineering grad or a BSc grad or a BCA grad or a Bachelor of Information Technology grad. But just remember that you need IT or computer science experience, background. So you can pretty much be a graduate of computer science in any of these degrees, whether it's a 3-year degree or a 4-year degree. If you're not from that background and yet you want to do this, there may be an additional coursework that you're going to be required to do when you reach the City of Seattle. So while it's open for everybody, it's just that you may be asked to do a few extra modules of foundation, some of which are also waived off by virtue of our course, but some of which you may need to do. But that all of this is by an individual case-by-case assessment that Antonio's team will be doing it for us. I completed BTech in 2009, also enrolled. So any eligibility check can be just emailed to me. I'm just going to put down my email address. And with that, I just want to go back to Antonio and ask him that now is a great time to take them through the campus, Antonio.
Great. And then I'm gonna now ask my colleague Christian to just talk about the campus and what the student experience looks like.
I
Can't quite hear.
Still muted. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. Good morning and good evening to you all. Just to talk about City University, we were founded in 1973 as a private nonprofit university, and we are accredited by the NWCCU, the ACBSP, the ABET, the PMI Global Accreditation Center for Project Management Education, and CACREP. We're also designated as a national center for academic excellence in cyber defense education by the National Security Agency and also the Department of Homeland Security. And we are ranked as top in 50 in online programs by US News and Rankings. We've already talked about programs, but just want to share with you also our mission statement. We all kind of tie together everything that we do around our mission statement, which is to change lives for good by offering high quality and relevant lifelong education to anyone with a desire to learn. Let me just see here. And just to talk more about our student population, we have a student population about 6,000 students worldwide, with 200 students international attending our campus here in Seattle. Although that does fluctuate, especially with the COVID pandemic, we are kind of a bit lower than that at this moment. To talk about just our location, we're located downtown in downtown Seattle, about 5 to 10 minutes walk away from the from Amazon campus, and also 2 blocks away from the iconic Space Needle, which you can see in Antonio's background there. His head just kind of covered it. There you go. So we're quite near. We're centrally located in downtown, and you may have an impression that Seattle is this sort of rainy, dreary location. It's certainly not. We have a temperate Mediterranean climate with temperatures in different seasons, such as 12 to 18 degrees Celsius in fall, 8 to 12 degrees Celsius in winter, 12 to 15 degrees in spring, and 18 to 25 degrees in summer. And in general, we have cool, wet winters and mildly warm, relatively dry summers. I saw a question regarding safety. I can briefly touch on that. Safety, Seattle is ranked as like the 13th best place to live in Washington itself. In the country, pardon me. And Washington itself is considered, Washington state, itself is considered the 5th best state in the United States and also considered the 5th safest state in the United States as well. So we, you can, just like in many other places in the world, you should be careful when you're in public places, mindful of where you are, and just generally aware of the safety of your surroundings. But having said that, we are considered one of the safer areas in the United States. So please do not worry too much. And as mentioned, we are about 2 hours away from Vancouver and also 2 hours away from the city of Portland. And we're also host to numerous premium locations nearby, such as Mount Rainier and Snoqualmie Pass, with their skiing opportunities, and as well as beautiful beaches, lakes, and rivers, with opportunities for fishing, crabbing, and clam digging, camping, surfing, and more on our Kitsap and Olympic peninsulas. And across the Cascade Mountains, you will find small towns with a traditional American feel, with vast apple and fruit orchards, with produce exported throughout the world. Let me see. I think that just basically covers most of our campus information. I do want to briefly touch on our student housing, as that was mentioned earlier. We have what's called Cornish Commons. It's this brand new modern facilities, high rise. It's about 5 to 10 minute walk away from City University through the Amazon campus, also downtown. And it's fully furnished and fully COVID vaccinated. It contains several community amenities such as laundry, cafeteria, common areas, and a fitness center with a beautiful view of the Space Needle and downtown Seattle. And just to give you some information about the quarterly rates, we charge either quarterly or monthly. And from 2022 to 2023, that's supposed to be at $3,570 for our double occupancy, $4,290 with our double occupancy with kitchen. Our triple occupancy is $3,155, and our single occupancy is $4,535. And for our super single occupancy, which is a double occupancy with no roommate and no kitchen, that's $5,215. And all of these quarterly rates include a $200 meal plan credit with additional meal plan credits available upon purchase. Once again, these are quarterly rates, and we also charge monthly. And just to let you know that these are actually quite affordable, considering that Seattle is one of the highest locations in terms of rental prices in the country. So we've worked to make the accommodations affordable and reachable for you. But also, if you do wish to stay off campus, or choosing a different options, let's say, you can choose, for example, homestays, or you can do a shared accommodation, maybe with your friends, or maybe get your own apartment as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian.
Sorry.
Yeah, so go ahead.
I'm sorry. Please go ahead. I was just about to take a question from the audience. So please go ahead.
Yeah, no. So as previously mentioned, I just want to also highlight, on campus, in our student population is very committed to social change, and so I encourage students to look us up, get involved on campus if you decide to come to us, and hopefully you do. Outside of the CityU community, and all the activities that we do schedule for students, it's also interesting to know that we have in Seattle in the Seattle area a large Indian population working in those industries, and so there is plenty of opportunities to network with executives. I know that in the past, both our deans have done panels for students from different companies and executives. So there's plenty of network opportunities, and so again, we do have opportunities to network inside and outside the classroom.
Thank you, Antonio and Christian. I think we've answered almost every single thing. And this, by far, in my experience of doing this for over a year and a half, has been the most precise forum ever, that we just answered everything that they want to know, answered everything which is important, and was super crisp. So I am enjoying this. I just wanted to make sure that we answer a couple of more questions on any specialized field in DS or computer science. I think so. You can go to the CityU pages, look through every part of the module. You will see all curricular components, and the course does not change for upGrad. It's just that you can always pick something additional if you want to specialize, but largely all of the course is absolutely similar. You just get a few waived off. You can pretty much pick anything. So I think in the interest of time, you might want to go to the program page. Also, Christian and Sumantra have been extremely proactive in sending so many links about housing, about the student projects at School of Technology, all of that. That brings me to an interesting question, that what kind of research or industry-driven project work do students get? I mean, I know that CPT does not make sense, because anyway, in about 12 months, they can go for an OPT straight, where they can get paid full time. So wouldn't make sense. But in terms of the campus research, the campus industrial driven projects, or other experiential learning things like Scott was speaking about, what is it that students will be exposed at the campus?
So let me answer that question. So I will send one link to you. This is, you can see our cybersecurity center and also our STC program. Student, you can find the research group, also tech club. Also, you can see the TA center. So if you go there, you can see how student did. Also, another link show the capstone. I'll give you the one example. If you want to be successful in the USA, please, I asking the international student to change your mindset. Try to help somebody. Don't try to seek your own benefit. This is the example. Why? Looks like the medical doctor, they can help a patient. That's why instead they are getting the monetary income. Because of that, our student, there are several ways. Some of the way you can do the student work, then you can work with the faculty, or you are not working as a student assistant, you are joining the research group, work with the faculty. Also, you can join the open source foundation. Ali is leading that one, free open source, that's a real work. One of our students, I'll give you a good example. Recently, student got a job offer from Google Silicon Valley, actually. And then he has worked with me, also my faculty, for last 1.5 years. He joined a non-profit organization. Non-profit organization wanted to have a nationwide math competition, but the event did not work on the day one. Why? We didn't, the system does not have data streaming optimization. He investigated that problem, and then he made this one as his capstone. And then also he constantly worked, usually more than 2 quarters or 3 quarters. By using his capstone, he applied for the Google. Google team was exactly looking for the data streaming optimization. He got the offer. So he is working there. Also, we are encouraging students, even master students, they publish the paper to journal. Why? Most of the master program in the USA, they are not asking publication. CDU, we are doing applied research. The first author is not professor. The first author is a student. Even now, November, I'm going to the conference in Florida, then even 4 students are going there. That's the big difference. Why? You don't have to tell, I'm good present, I'm good communicator. Hey, I published the paper, I presented there. Those are things you need a very different approach. So simply speaking, come here, you can go to the meetups, meet service everywhere, then it's up to you, your choice. This also you come to the open source project, talk to the faculty. Ali is working on edge computing and cloud computing and sky computing. Okay, I'm working on the software re-engineering, especially Shikan Smart one. The other one is a data science research. The other faculty is AI. This is a faculty-driven research group. Of course, also we have student clubs. So also have your leadership over there, it will help you. Oh, I forgot the one thing. I know several students come, they are comparing the tuition. Even you go to the state university here, because I was the tenured professor at the University of Washington, I know I have the several international students, but I learned that our CDU is a good school. We are not charging a lot. Even compared to international student state program hours, we are $10,000 cheaper. Second, the outcome, we really focus on student success, not your money, not your just a degree. That's the why our students, they could enjoy their life. Again, go to the c4ciy.cdu.edu. You can go to the TA center. If you go to the student who came from India, click the link.
So if I could add to what Sam just.
Great. I think we found the answer to that. Antonio, would you like to add something to it?
No, I think Sumatra wanted to say something. Sumatra, do you want to? Or...
Yeah, I think if, thanks. If I could add to what Sam said, in the business school, there's 4 organizations that we are very integrated with: American Marketing Association, the Project Management Institute, the Entrepreneurship Institute. In fact, our entrepreneurship students just won a nationwide competition this year, MBA students, and they have just been awarded the contract for the city of Seattle or downtown for some of the work that they're doing. As well as the final one, which is very key, is a new venture competition that we are now hosting once a year, where student business ideas are going to be judged by a group of venture capitalists, and the best idea will win, get a cash award, and hopefully be able to launch their own business. So these are some of the quite innovative ways in which we continue to make the business experience extremely practical. In addition to the live cases that I mentioned earlier that the students are solving for. So very important, to understand the ecosystem of what we are continuing to do. So thanks, Antonio.
Thanks, Sumatra. I think we're pretty much done. How can we get scholarship? So like I said, you need a 50% in your bachelor's with no more than 10 backlogs, and then a 60% in your triple IT advanced certificate program in data science, or IMT Ghaziabad, which is an AACSP school. You do the advanced general management program with a 60% grade. As long as you fulfill city use criteria, you get the scholarship. And remember, the biggest or the most breakthrough that we've had with City U is that they have 4 intakes, which almost none of our university partners do. So there's January, which is winter, and then there's April, which is spring, there's July, that's summer, and then there's fall, which is September. I've never, I mean, as upGrad abroad, we don't have any university in the US that gives us all 4 intakes. In fact, having studied in the US, I can tell you that there's hardly any school or very little good universities of good repute that give you 4 intakes. So that's something. So if you've already done triple IT or you're halfway through, if you've already done IMT and you're halfway through, you can aim at April intake very much so, and you get a 25% scholarship. I'm applying for bachelor's in the US. If I take data science or MIS, do I have to deal with so much mathematics, or will there be so much more mathematical subjects in the course? So largely, Rohan, in bachelor's, you have a lot of calculus component. I can still go back to Christian or Ali and ask them to answer that. How much mathematics is the child expected to cope up if he's doing a BSDS or BSMIS? Oh, sorry, a BBMIS probably, because I don't think MIS is a BS subject. I may be wrong.
Yeah. So we will be focusing on the BSACS, Bachelor of Science in Applied Computer Science, or Bachelor of Science in Data Science for students that are interested. I'm not sure, Antonio, if we are targeting the BSDS at this point or not, so you can correct me there.
We're expanding with our partnership with upGrad. It continues to grow. New programs will be added, and so I will ask students to continue to check with upGrad for new programs as we add them. Right now, it would be the BS in Applied Computer Science, and again, we continuously work with our colleagues in the school, our schools, to articulate new programs. And once those are done, upGrad will then be announcing it to your students.
Perfect, thank you. But in general, a basic knowledge of calculus and statistics is required for the majors. However, we have strong focus on the hands-on and practical experience rather than the theory. So if students learn a concept in any of these areas, they will put it to practice very, very soon in that module of the course. So we have more focus on the practical aspect of things rather than the theory throughout all of our courses. Every course has a technology tool or a technology component related to it that students practice on a weekly basis. And that is basically where, if, for example, they learn a concept in statistics, they apply it right away. So they get to build that muscle memory in their system. I hope that addresses the question.
Yes. I mean, I don't have an answer for how much more, but I think having done a technology degree, I think mathematics, calculus, statistics, this goes a long way, and it actually has a lot of applied use to it almost your entire life. If you're a techie or if you're a programmer and you're designing an algorithm or a code, or you're trying to design an application, or be it anything, I think mathematics and calculus is
Yes.
good. And I think Sam has something to add to it. Sam,
Yes. Also, all students, if you are not interested in studying in the USA, please invest your time. How much you know, that means how much you can save money. For example, you come to the CDU, we have a website. Also, we have a catalog. Please go to the catalog. You can see all of our courses, how we are doing that. For example, MSCS, we are teaching the full stack development. This is the only one program in Seattle area. Why? We know how much harder to teach a full stack. So also the other one, data science, already itself is a specialization. Also, you can see that. Of course, while you are studying the data science, you can study the computer science or cybersecurity. Also, you can do that through elective. Also, internship legally available. Does not mean we are not providing internship jobs. So some case I'm introducing to student. If you have a sponsor, if you have a meetup, if you made that, you can do it. Generally, mathematical background, a lot of students who have education in Asia, usually generally they are strong. Undergraduate, we are not requiring calculus, we are asking pre-calculus. Graduate school, if you don't have a background, you have to study the algorithms, also math for data science. We designed those ways to help a non-STEM student. Thank you.
thank you so much, Sam. I think we're pretty much at the end. We've answered everything spectacularly. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put down my email address on the chat box, praneet.singh@upgrad.com. Any way you want to reach out to CityU team, I know we've had a great stellar set of experts here, Antonio, Ali, Christian, Sumantra, Sam, and of course Scott. And I'm super, grateful that Scott could make out some time of his schedule, which I'm assuming is super busy, to be here and address, which just goes a long way in addressing the fact that super smart, super brilliant, academically ready students are always welcome in some of the, some of these top schools in the world. And the extremely talented and bright students here in India in management and technology are actually expected to do a lot better and a lot good when you enter the US workforce. So, I mean, such a structure of the course where you're honing or sharpening your foundational skills in India, and you go to the campus and you enter the workforce, is what upGrad and the university together aim for, which is why some of the top experts or the top tier folks are involved very much and invested in this, which is why Scott's here. I wish you guys good luck. To sum it up, to conclusively mention that CityU's batches start on 30th September. The next one is 31st October. But just remember that at this point, this is an online first 8 months. So even if you're working somewhere, you can finish this. You get a dual degree, and then you move to CityU. We help you as upGrad with financial loans, with the application processing. In fact, CityU has been super kind to us that they've not just given us a scholarship, but also waived off any application fee at all, which is normally a norm for every other student who applies to CityU. Long story short, we're doing this to make sure that you have a conduit to a city like Seattle, and you can build the next 10 or 20 years of your life there. That just have started already. You may not see an official webpage. I see a lot of you have put down this, that we don't see the page, we don't see the university listed on the portfolio. Well, you can just send an email to me. I'll make sure I connect you to the right person. But we're going to be launching this page this week itself. But regardless, admissions and triple IT, ACP, DS, and IMT, AGMP are open. Scott, would you like to share a valedictory word towards these attendees?
I would just add that the heart of City University is our global perspective and our global reach. We really are very appreciative and welcoming to students from all over the world. We believe Seattle is a really rich environment to learn, to launch your career, and to take that next step in your life. And we are honored that you've taken time this morning to listen to us and learn more about us. And we hope that you come study with us here in Seattle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. My colleague has put down the links for exploring some of the courses that we have. All our bachelor's and master's courses are going to be live super soon. But any which way, you can always contact us, get in touch, and I'll help you connect to Scott's team. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sam, Christian, Sumantra, Antonio, Oli, for making time for us. We're super thrilled and enthralled that this is out live, and we make sure that we send you at least 100 students over the next 1 year. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Thank you.
See you soon at CityU.